When we realize what truth is, it's not imposed, but it's discovered. So it's more inviting. One virus matters: our ego, our fallacy that we can claim ownership of right and wrong. Clever deceit is still tempting us, that truth is nothing more than a feeling. My job is to assist the truth, to remove the shroud of opinion and reveal our spirit. The battle for our souls is now. My name is Monsignor Cantuzanu. Game on. Good to see you again. We're continuing our journey across the creek to try to get out of this mess. If you remember, we're trying to step on solid rock so that we can get across. The first rock, the rock of life. All are welcome. The rock of humility, rejecting the rock of perfection. Forgiveness, not hatred. Well, now we're getting further along, but the water is getting a little deeper, current's a little stronger. So now we read a really big rock. And there is one there, and the rock that we need to stand on now is truth. But the problem is, some people see that big rock and they say, no, that's slippery. I don't think we can do that, because a lot of people think there is no such thing as truth. And so they're kind of like hesitant. And so they're looking for another rock, and there's this other big rock next to it, and they think, oh, I think that's the one to stand on. But when they stand on it, they find out it's the rock of power. The rock of power. And what is that? Power essentially means might makes right. So if I can do it, I do it. If I can get away with it, I get away with it. And the longer you stand on it, the more you like it. But the problem is, it's only good for the person standing on the rock, but no one else can follow behind you. Because in this particular case, that means what I'm calling truth is imposed. I'm forcing it on someone else. And another challenge to the rock of power is that people don't often think of that, but it also indicates a laziness, because the person is not willing to do the work of discussion, discovery, dialogue, to get to that truth. They just want to jump ahead to their conclusion. Again, it's imposed. And so what does all of that lead to? Exclusivity. Remember the old game, King of the Hill? The person on top, they choose who does and does not make it to the top. It's the rock of power. So we realize that's our really solid rock to stand on. So we got to go back to the rock of truth. And initially, while people think that it's not an inviting one, when we realize what truth is, it's not imposed, but it's discovered. So it's more inviting. People realize the truth. And because of that, and they're willing to do that work of discovering that truth, it's inviting. The person on top of the hill isn't saying, you can come, you can't come, you can't come, you can come. But anyone who discovers the truth is welcomed, and no one is rejected. The only people that don't make it are the people who exclude themselves by the failure to discover that truth. The other problem is that a lot of people think, well, like, how do you really know such a thing as truth? And I would suggest it's not as hard to discover as you might think. I'd like to tell you a quick little silly story that kind of like can illustrate that. It's a group that once upon a time went on a camping trip, and it came time for dinner. And of course they had a can that they're going to open up, and a person says, I got a can opener. But they said, no, you can't use a can opener. And the person says, I'm going to use a hacksaw. So they use a hacksaw, they get it open, but the dinner spills all over the ground. And they got a person says, I got a can opener. No, that's not good enough. We can use something else. And so he takes a hammer and a screwdriver, pounds it, gets enough holes in it, opens it up, but again, the dinner spills all over. The guy says, I got a can opener. Still, no, that's good enough. Let's try this. And so now they have a hatchet. They're whacking away. They finally get it open again. The dinner spills. And all through it all, the person is saying, I got a can opener. Why don't you just use this? And that's kind of like the truth. We think that, like, you have your truth, your truth, your truth. And what happens is it's not really a truth. It's just something that I want to try. And all the while, there's a can opener, which is kind of like obvious, and people are maybe too quick to reject that. So I think we have this false idea that truth is almost like impossible to discover. It's really not much more difficult in the average circumstances than using a can opener. And when we do that, we realize that we're standing on solid ground, not just for ourselves, but more importantly, for others. Remember, truth is inclusive, not exclusive. So we got to reject power. We need the rock of truth.